We now know who would succeed Elon Musk as CEO of Tesla. Probably. And it would be JB Straubel, the second co-founder of Tesla. Who would be better than that? He was just nominated to Tesla's board of directors, and that's a pretty good giveaway that this would actually happen, probably. I think this will also make quite a few Tesla stock investors happy. I mean, the ones that are invested for the long term, not for the short term. Short-term Tesla stock traders, I don't think they will think much of it. Maybe they would think, oh, that's actually a negative because this is one of Elon's friends. Yeah, but the guy literally co-founded Tesla together with Elon Musk. Who would be better than that? For the longest time, JB has been Tesla's second most important person, and he left Tesla in 2019. So he wouldn't be up to date, but being on the board, he would be up to date with everything relatively quickly. And he left Tesla to start his own company, Redwood Materials, and it's a pretty big company already. I think if JB becomes the CEO of Tesla, Tesla should probably buy this company. Redwood Materials works on recycling batteries and putting them back into use. JB has recently given a speech at Stanford, and it was pretty interesting. Let's watch it together to learn more about who the successor of Elon Musk is likely to be.
A person I think is one of the greatest living engineers, JB Straubel.
I love being an entrepreneur. For me, that's part of the fun. Many people asked, why on earth would I possibly leave this, CTO role at Tesla? It was this wonderful job. People would fight for this role. And it was fabulous. But I love being an entrepreneur.
This is exactly what kind of CEO Tesla needs. We need someone who is an entrepreneur. We want Tesla to keep innovating. We do not want Tesla to just sit still, rest on its laurels, and do nothing and just announce a new product that would just be a little bit better than the previous one. No, we need to innovate. We need to revolutionize multiple industries still. And here's JB explaining exactly what his company does right now.
This is a short flow sheet. We basically recycle all these different feedstocks all the way from old consumer batteries, old EV batteries. We mix those with some new materials. There are some mined materials and make things like cathode material and copper foils. A lot of components most people don't think about, but they make up a lot of the cost structure of a battery that goes inside your electric vehicle.
Here's something that is very interesting. Tesla in Master Plan 3 says that they only assume 80% of critical material recovery, then they calculate how much mining we will need to keep doing in the future. However, on redwoodmaterials.com, you will find that Redwood's technology can recover on average more than 95% of materials like nickel, cobalt, copper, aluminum, lithium, and graphite in a lithium-ion battery. That's a big deal.
Maybe one point on collection of these batteries. It's actually quite a grassroots activity. There's no regulation in the US right now that even requires people to recycle batteries. It's perfectly legal, and most batteries actually get thrown in the garbage. People just literally chuck it in the garbage, it goes in the landfill. So, we're out working quite hard and trying to almost do advocacy around recycling on the front end of the company, increasing recycling rates, making this easier for people, adding some technology to this around sorting and collection so that it's even lower cost to scale this. But it's really, really crazy to me that we would go through all this work to do exploration, a permit a mine, dig up the earth, refine the materials, make it into a product, and then throw it away. It's just kind of crazy when you zoom out from it. So being able to keep every one of those precious bits of material that we went through all the trouble to make and mine the first time seems like just such a natural thing we have to do. And to give you a sense of scale, also a lot of people sort of think, oh, how could there possibly be enough batteries to make this relevant yet? This is a view of one of our, actually our main processing facility in Nevada. These are pallets. Each one of those is maybe 1,000 pounds. It's like twice the size of this podium, full of batteries. So this is just a small snapshot of the batteries coming back in the world. And I kind of challenge you to look at your life. Think around you and think how many things in your nearby life have a lithium-ion battery in them. It's quite shocking. You probably have 2 or 3 of them on your person at the moment, and then you go home and there's you're surrounded in them. There might be one in your car. It's incredible. And every one of those, of course, has to come back at some point. It's another opportunity to recover it and harvest it.
One reason why many people do not recycle batteries is because it's sort of difficult. You have to take them to a place and then you don't get paid for it. And the reason why you don't get paid for it is because 1 kilogram of lithium or 2 pounds of lithium only costs $30. So it doesn't make sense for any of these manufacturers really to pay to recycle these batteries because recycling also costs money. At this point of time, it probably makes more sense to just dig up new lithium and just use that. But if you have a huge battery in your vehicle, yeah, I think many people will make an effort to actually go ahead and recycle that because you will actually get paid a little bit of money.
And I believe the same systems we're building and architecting, kind of just like supercharging and just like early roadster battery architecture, they feel broadly relevant to me. Even though this is sort of the very beginning of having enough traction to start to build a closed loop ecosystem for batteries, I think if we were sitting here in 20 or 30 years, it's going to be patently obvious that most of the materials in batteries will be recycled. Most of them will be in a closed loop.
This guy thinks in periods of 10, 20, 30 years. Wall Street, of course, would not like to hear about, oh, what are you going to do 20 years from now? But this is the kind of guy that I would want to be in charge of Tesla if Elon Musk decides to step down. I wouldn't want a CEO that is concerned about just the next quarter and not the next 10 years.
And once the whole fleet is in a steady state, that loop that's going around the remanufacturing will be much larger than all the lithium and nickel and copper mining that services it today. It's just math.
And he can do math too. How can you not love this guy?
What we did at Tesla and why that's still so important, and today what I'm doing at Redwood Materials. But I think even to take a step back, for me, I think it's extremely important to really understand what you're aiming at and to make sure when especially if you're an entrepreneur and you start getting sucked in the direction of a company or a problem, to make sure that you're aligned with something that really matters. And I saw a quote or two, I think, in the beginning that echoed with that. But it's extremely important, and it's all too easy, I think, to be an entrepreneur, and pretty soon you're caught up in the current, and you're going in a direction, and you don't have the luxury of really looking and zooming way out. So to me, the imperative to electrify really our whole world, to transition us off fossil fuels, is one of the sort of guiding true north principles that's excited me, that's kept me focused, and something I just care deeply about, even since before, when I was a student and before.
His story sounds a little bit similar to Elon Musk's story as well. When Elon Musk was young, he thought these 5 things would change the world. The internet, of course, working on multiplanetary life, he's working on SpaceX, changing human genetics, and sustainable energy, of course, as well as artificial intelligence.
This is literally just data. This is an interpretation. It's not a model. There's really no interpretation to speak of. It's just measured data of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This is going to be something we're dealing with, transitioning, struggling, investing toward for decades. And perhaps even more maybe frustrating, if we look at that CO2 concentration graph, you'd think, okay, we have some awareness of this problem. We're really rallying all of this work towards sustainability, conferences like this, startup companies everywhere. You'd think it was getting better. Literally, we set a world record for CO2 emissions last year. So if we had the analogy of we're in a hole, we're in this hole digging deeper, the hole is sort of how much CO2 is in the atmosphere. We're not stopping digging. So sitting at the bottom of the hole, digging deeper, at the fastest rate ever, and actually accelerating how fast we're digging.
Obviously, electric vehicles are going to help a lot with that, and this is where Elon Musk's master plan part 3 is going to come into play. With energy storage, solar panels, wind energy generation, and heat pumps and everything else, we do have a plan to attack this. We now just need to do it. The good news here, though, is it actually makes economical sense to transition to sustainable energy. EVs are going to be cheaper than gasoline cars. Energy generated from solar panels, that will make electricity actually cheaper, not more expensive. It may take a little bit more time for that to happen in most areas in the world, but it is inevitable.
What does everyone think of when you think of the word 420 in this context?
Guys, he is officially, definitely for sure, 100% qualified to be the CEO of Tesla. He got that Elon Musk factor.
But just last month, we passed 420 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere. And we briefly passed it last year, but we passed it on the way up into the summer season in Northern Hemisphere this last month, and I doubt we'll ever go below it, probably in any of our lifetimes. A different interpretation of 420, but one that I think is pretty important and fundamental.
In relative terms, compared to Elon Musk, JB is also a pretty decent speaker as well. JB also shared the early days of Tesla, and it is very interesting. I will make a separate video about all of that, because otherwise this video would be about 35 to 40 minutes long, and I don't want to do that here to you guys. But this is the Tesla Style Buying Opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.